we go. It's created. I'll just set up my phone so I can see people chatting. And inform everyone that we are live. Whoever doesn't get pinged. Hello everybody and welcome to D&D Monday Talks. Today I am joined by Hans.
Hello.
And
Hi.
what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be talking about how to make a world, or like the worlds of worlds outside the ready-made worlds. And then we're going to talk about how to what I've been working on and how I've balanced the magic system in the world of Mythos. So yeah, come on in, and I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments as well on magic systems, creating worlds, and how to balance them.
Yeah, I would love to hear some other people's thoughts.
Yeah. So yeah, please, most definitely share those. So what I was going to do is we're going to quickly read through. Are you right, Val? You sneezed on live. You alright?
Yeah.
You got your medicine and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I was making myself medicine and I forgot.
Make sure you have your medicine. Anyway, sorry about that, folks. We've got an ill flatmate. Making sure she's looking after herself. Anyway, so yeah, welcome to Dungeons & Dragons Monday Talk. And what we're going to do is run through. So this is the player's handbook, and we're just going to read through the first bit and how to set up a world of a world to have adventures in, because not all Dungeons and Dragons has to be in the worlds that they've created, like Wizards of the Coast have created. So that obviously they've created ready-made worlds and like place their adventures in them. So, but you don't have to do that. So what we've done, we've created our own world of Ithos, and basically. So yeah, I was going to read through the introduction to Dungeons and Dragons as a whole, and then I was just going to go through what I've been working on, and yeah, try and get some feedback from it. How's that sound?
Sounds good. You
Nice.
can read for the start.
Yeah. So the introduction to Dungeons and Dragons. So I'll just read what's on screen. So people who can't see it and just listening can hear as well. So the introduction to Dungeons and Dragons. The Dungeons and Dragons role-playing game is about storytelling in the worlds of swords and sorcery. It shares elements of childhood games like make-believe, like those games D&D is driven by imagination. It is also picturing the towering castles beneath the stormy night sky, and imagining how a fantasy adventurer might react to the challenges that scene presents. So the different so these are the different sort of roles we have. So Dungeon Master. Okay, so this is an example of a session basically. So after pressing through the cracky peaks, the road takes a sudden turn to the east, and the castle Ravenloft towers before you. Crumbling towers of stone keep a silent watch over the approach. They, like the abandoned guardhouses beyond the... They look like abandoned guardhouses. Beyond these, a wide chasm gapes, appearing into the deep fog below. A lowering drawbridge spans the chasm, leading to an arched entrance to the castle courtyard. The chains of the drawbridge creak in the wind, their rust-eaten iron straining with the weight from the weight. From atop the high, strong walls, stone gargoyles stare at you from hollow eye sockets and grin hideously. A rotten wood portcullis, green with growth. Portcullises, green with growth, hangs in the entrance tunnel. Beyond this, the main doors of the Castle Ravenclaw stand open. Rich, warm light spilling into the courtyard. Philip, playing as Gareth. I want to look at the gargoyles. I feel they're not just statues. Amy, playing as Riva. The drawbridge looks perilous. I want to see if it's sturdy. Do I think we can cross it, or is it going to collapse under our weight? So this is obviously an example of a game of Dungeons and Dragons in the session. And then unlike a game of make-believe, D&D gives structure to the stories, a way of determining the consequences of the adventurer's actions. Players roll dice to resolve whether their attacks hit or miss, whether their adventurers can scale a cliff, roll away from the strike of a magical lightning bolt, or pull off some other dangerous task. Anything is possible, but the dice makes some outcomes more probable than others. So then, obviously, the scene continues. DM. Okay, one at a time. Philip, you look at the gargoyles. Yeah. Is there any hint they might... So, Philip, yeah. Is there any hint they might be creatures and not decorations? DM, make an intelligence check. Does my investigation skill apply? Sure. So, Philip rolls a D20 and gets a 7. 7. They look like decorations to you. Amy, Riva is checking out the drawbridge. Cool. So in the Dungeons and Dragons game, each player creates an adventurer, also called a character, and teams up with other adventurers played by friends. Working together, the group might explore a dark dungeon, a ruined city, a haunted castle, a lost temple in a deep forest, a lava-filled cavern beneath mysterious mountain. The adventurers adventurers can solve puzzles, talk with each other, battle fantastic monsters, and discover fabulous magic items or treasure. One player, however, takes the role of the DM, the Dungeon Master, the game's lead storyteller and referee. The DM creates adventurers for characters who navigate in the hazards that decide which path to explore. The DM might describe the entrance of Castle Ravencloft, and the players decide what they want their adventurers to do. Will they walk across the dangerously weathered drawbridge? Tie themselves together with rope to minimize the chances of someone will fall if the drawbridge gives way, or cast a spell to carry them over the chasm. Then, the DM determines the result of the adventurer's actions and narrates what their experience, because the DM can improve or improvise to to react to anything the player attempts. D&D is infinitely flexible, and each adventure can be exciting and unexpected. The game has no real end. When one story or quest wraps up, another one can begin, creating an ongoing story called a campaign. Many people who play the game keep their campaigns going for months or even years, meeting with their friends every week or so to pick up where the story left off. The adventurers grow in might as the campaign continues. Each monster defeated, each adventure completed, and each treasure recovered or not only adds to the continued story, but also earns the adventurer's new capabilities. This increase in power is reflected by the adventurer's level. There's no winning and losing in Dungeons & Dragons game, or at least not in those terms. At least not the way those terms are usually understood. Together, the DM and the players create an exciting story of bold adventurers who confront deadly perils. Sometimes an adventurer might come to a grisly end, torn apart by ferocious monsters, or done in by a nefarious villain. Even so, the other adventurers can search for powerful items to retrieve their fallen comrade, or the player might choose to create new character to carry on. The group might fail to complete an adventure successfully, but if everyone had a good time creating a memorable story, they all win. Right, Worlds of Adventure. So this is the bit that I wanted to get to. So the Worlds of Adventure. The many worlds of the Dungeons and Dragons game are places of magic and monsters, of brave warriors and spectacular adventures. They begin with a foundation of medieval fantasy, and then add the creatures, places, and magic that make these worlds unique. The worlds of Dungeons & Dragons game exist within a vast cosmos called the multiverse, connected with strange, mysterious ways to one another and 10 other planes of existence, such as the elemental plane of fire and the infinite depths of the abyss. Within the multiverse are the endless variety of worlds. Many of them have been published as official settings for the D&D game. The Legends of the Forgotten Realms, Dragonlance, Greyhawk, Dark Sun, Mysteria, Ereborn settings are woven together in a fabric of the multiverse. Alongside these worlds are hundreds of thousands more created by the generations of D&D players of their own games. And amidst all the riches of the multiverse, you might create your own world. You might create a world of your own. All these worlds share characteristics, but each world is set apart by its own history and cultures. Decisive monsters and races, fantastic geometry, ancient dragons and scheming villains. Some races have unusual traits in different worlds. The halflings of the Dark Sun setting, for example, are jungle-dwelling cannibals, and the elves are desert nomads. Some worlds feature races unknown in other settings, such as Ereborn and the Warforged. Soldiers created and imbued with life to fight the last war. Some worlds are dominated by one giant story, like the War of the Lance, that plays a critical role in the Dragonlance setting. But they're all D&D worlds, and you can use the rules in this book to create a character and play in any one of them. Your DM might set the campaign on one of these worlds, or on one that he or she created. Because there is so much diversity among the worlds of D&D, you should check with your DM about any house rules that will affect your play or the game. Ultimately, the Dungeon Master is the authority on the campaign and its setting, even if its setting is a published world. All right. So basically, yeah, the DM places you in the adventure in the world, and then you get to obviously play from there. So what me and my friends have been up to, or so what we've been up to is creating a world that we can our own world ethos.
Yep. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
I suddenly couldn't hear you for a second there. So what happened?
Literally, I'm talking. I'm just I was just about to read from my phone about our world.
Okay.
So
Min-
yeah. So there's a few things that I've written down basically that I just wanted to get people's thoughts on.
Yep.
Okay. So first, okay, here we go. So the world of Ithos is a nexus world of the element. It's a nexus world of the element known as Ithos. So Ithos is imagination itself, the raw stuff of imagination, and Ithos is out there in the cosmos, in the multiverse, in the cosmos, and it's a nexus point of like imagination, and all around the planet is like chaos, thoughts of chaos, chaos ethos. I'll get to that in a minute. So the element of ethos, the element, so the ethos element, the ethos element is imagination itself. The element in its raw state is untamed and wild. In this wild state, it is known as the chaos ethos element. Just to us and to our world, so the chaos ethos element is what's all about. The ethos element can be refined through the use of ethos gates into the order ethos element, so it can be ordered in through the gates. So the ethos gates, these gates focus the chaos element into the order element for the use in the wider world of ethos. Yeah. The primary job of the ethos gates is to provide order ethos to power the anti-chaos world shield. So there's a shield around the world that is powered by order ethos to keep chaos ethos out. Yeah. And then each ethos gate has a guardian. So gate guardians, each gate creates its own guardian. So literally, the guardian has come from the gate, created by the gate to So the gate guardians are actually our DMs. So that's the people who help create ethos basically. So our guardians are the GMs. Okay, so game masters are the guardians. So each guardian, so the gate guardian's job is to maintain the service of the gate by any means. So literally, because the dungeon masters are telling the story of whatever story they're telling, and whoever's involved and listens to the story of the DMs are adding their element of ethos, so their imagination to the world. And by doing that, the gate powers the shield around the world and keeps it safe from chaos element. The service of the gate is to continue to pull in chaos ethos and turn it into order ethos. So basically, order ethos around. So the gate guardian uses the gate to turn chaos ethos into order ethos. So that is how I've set up the ethos system the magic imagination system. So it's refined through the gates, basically, and the gates are what generates the fantasy power, the fantasy of it. And and it's controlled by the Dungeon Masters, aka the Gate Guardians. But in the actual world of Ithos, literally people, so they don't know really about the Gate Guardians. The Gate Guardians keep to themselves and look after the gates, but they don't really interact with the wider world of Ithos. And the inhabitants of Ithos know that there's a shield around the world, but they don't know it. It's just a magical shield to them. So yeah, so that's what we come up with. Yeah.
What it basically means, from what I see, is there's a shield around Ithos to get some energy, unrefined energy, into the energy what mix.
Okay, so the chaos energy goes through the gates, the Ethos gates on the planet, take the raw chaos energy of the adventurers and the outside world into the gates, and then through the gates it goes from the gates to the shield around the world. Yeah.
Yep. Basically what I said. Through the gates, the chaos, your chaos energy is refined through the energy of this world.
Yeah.
Could have been explained better, but we can work on that.
How do you mean?
I don't know. It just feels like I mumbled a lot, not very simplified.
All right.
It just seems like a lot for like a new person to jump into. So like all the kingdoms we have.
Yeah.
So what I thought would be like a good idea, just so no one's instantly overwhelmed by everything that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
We could put the kingdoms in like tags for which kingdom if they visit the kingdom, like with Arena, Dungeon Master, Gate Guardians. Like if they visit the kingdom, they'll get information about that kingdom through out of game, and they'll get the tag.
That's exactly why the tabs are already made, dude. They just need to be filled out now. So yeah, so we've got a Discord for the world of Mythos of Ithos. So it's the mythology, the stories of Ithos. We've got a Discord channel, and basically that's being worked on as right now, because I've only just come up with this magic system, so it's still working on it.
Yeah,
work in progress, but yeah. But yeah, I'm working on refining it so it can be told in a good intro. But this at the moment is just the discussion about creating our world. So any ideas, thoughts would be good to be put in the comments. Yeah, that's basically what I wanted to talk about this D&D Monday. Yeah.
Well, it's been nice talking.
Well, I kind of talked at you, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right, mate.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you next Monday.
Yeah. Bye.
See you, everybody. Bye.